Alright guys, we're going to continue working on topic 13, discussing inequalities. 13-3 covers solving two-step inequalities. We're going to work a little bit on writing inequalities and solving them, just kind of like we did with the equations. So first, I suggest pausing the video and seeing if you can match up the correct inequalities with the correct words or paragraphs. Go ahead and try that now. Okay, let me kind of talk about them with you. So on the first one, 9 plus 5.5 times a number is more than 50. Okay, we can pretty much break that down word for word. 9 plus 5.5 times a number that we don't know is more than 50. This matches with our last inequality choice. Okay, let's look at the second one. A lunch special costs $9. The Egyptology Club can spend at most $50. How many lunch specials can they order if they also share a dessert that costs $5.50? Okay, so we want to know how many lunch specials they can get. That's our unknown. And we know that they're also going to get a dessert. It says they're sharing it, so just one dessert. And we know the price for each lunch special is $9. So we need to spend $9 in times for however many we're going to get. Also, we need to spend $5.50, and altogether for our total, it can be at most $50. So we're gonna pay $9 in times. We're also going to buy one dessert, and then the total can be at most $50. At most means that that's the maximum. Like, we can spend less than that, but we can't spend any more than $50. And it also means that it would be okay if we spent exactly $50. So this matches with our second inequality choice. Now that tells us what the last one should be, but let's still double check everything. You read a 50-page chapter about the early Egyptians at the rate of 5.5 pages per minute. After how many minutes will you have fewer than 9 pages left? Okay, so we start with 50 pages. We're reading them, so we're going to have less and less pages to read as we go. So we're subtracting 5.5 pages every minute. The number of minutes is unknown, and we want to do this until we have fewer than 9 pages, so less than 9. That matches our last inequality choice. Alright, here's another one. Go ahead and pause the video, try it out, and then play the video when you think you have it to see if you did it right. Okay, let's check it. Half of a number, t, plus 25.9 is at most 203.56. Okay, half of is a keyword we've talked about. Of can mean we're multiplying. Oops. A number, t, plus 25.9 is at most 203.56. At most means that's the maximum, so it's got to be less than that. And at most means that it can be equal to that amount. So it would be less than or equal to 23.56. So 1/2 t plus 25.9 is less than or equal to 203.56. This inequality is representing that sentence. Alright, so the topic of our lesson is to solve two-step inequalities. This is going to look a lot like the two-step equations that we've solved in the past.
Equivalent inequalities are inequalities that have the same solution. You can solve an inequality by transforming it into a series of simpler equivalent inequalities. A two-step inequality involves two operations. To solve a two-step inequality, it is usually easier to perform the order of operations in reverse. So undo addition or subtraction, and then undo multiplication or division.
Okay, that's just like what we used to do with equations. We always undid or canceled the addition and subtraction stuff, and then we worked on the multiplication and division. One thing you're going to have to keep in mind when we're working with inequalities is that if we multiply or divide both sides of our inequality by a negative value, we're going to have to remember to flip the sign.
Here's how you can solve x divided by -3 plus 12 is less than 28 and 9/10. Begin by writing the inequality. Remember to undo addition or subtraction first. Use subtraction to undo addition. Subtract 12 from each side. Simplify. Then use multiplication to undo division and isolate the variable. Multiply each side by -3. Because you are multiplying by a negative number, you have to reverse the inequality symbol. Simplify. Simplify again. X is now alone on the left side. -3 times 16 and 9/10 equals -50 and 7/10. So the solution is x is greater than -50 and 7/10. Graph the solution on a number line.
Okay, before we start the graph, now there's been a lot of questions about this. We want to think about a couple of things. As we make our graph, we want to think, should we have a filled in circle at -50.7, or will we have an open circle at -50.7? Look at our solution. X is greater than -50.7. Can the value of x be exactly equal to -50.7? That should tell us if we should have an open or a closed circle. If the value of x can't be exactly equal to -50.7, then we don't want to shade the value at -50.7, so we would use an open circle. Secondly, we've got to think about which direction to shade. Well, in this solution, we're talking about all the values that are greater than -50.7. So we would shade the values that are greater than -50.7, which should be the right side. Notice that they have a number line marked out. We see arrows on both ends of the number line. The tick marks are evenly spaced. It looks like they chose to go by tenths, which is fine, but we do need to go by something. And they have included enough numbers for us to be able to see the value we're going to mark at, negative 50.7, is going to be included right in here. So we have some numbers before and after our solution. So we'll be able to get a good picture of all of the possible values for x.
Now, check your answer. Step 1. Check the related equation. First, write the related equation. Then substitute negative 50 and 7/10 for x in the related equation. Now simplify. Add. The solution to the related equation checks. Step 2. Check the direction of the inequality. To check the direction, test a value from the solution in the original inequality. 0 is greater than negative 50 and 7/10, so substitute 0 for x in the original inequality.
Okay, when they say to check the direction of the inequality, since we're talking about values that are greater than negative 50.7, we want to check one of those values just to make sure it works. There are lots of numbers that are greater than negative 50.7. 0 is 1. So we're just going to check 0 to make sure that a number that is greater than negative 50.7 is going to work in our inequality. This should let us be pretty sure that we got the right result and we're on the right track.
It is a good idea to substitute 0 when it falls on the shaded portion of the number line because computations are often easier with 0. Simplify. Then add. 12 is less than 28 and 9/10, so the direction of the inequality checks. Both the related equation and the inequality direction check, so the answer checks. When x divided by negative 3 plus 12 is less than 28 and 9/10, x is greater than negative 50 and 7/10.
All right, let's try this one. A magician's assistant makes $10.60 an hour. If he has already saved $53.70, how many hours must he work in order to save at least $165 total? So we need to write an inequality, we need to solve it, and we're going to create a graph for it. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video, see if you can make the inequality yourself. Part of the hard part is taking the words and turning them into math. Alright, let's talk about it together. So a magician's assistant makes $10.60 an hour. He's already saved $53.70. How many hours must he work in order to save at least $165 total? Well, we could think about how much money he's starting with. $53.70. He's going to continue to save money, so the money is increasing at $10.60 every hour. And for our total, we hope to get at least $165. We would like to get $165 or even more would be great. So we want this to be greater than or equal to $165. Okay, check out the next video. We're going to go ahead and solve it and grab our answer.